Welcome to another episode of Technology for Independence with Chris Cooley. Today we're going to be looking at handicap accessibility educational formats. So stay tuned. Welcome back to another episode of Technology for Independence with Chris Cooley. Today we're going to be looking at handicap accessibility and other educational items that we as individuals should be aware of. Chris, always a pleasure talking with you.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
We're looking at handicap accessibility, and it's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that in the state of Ohio, if you build a new building, it has to be accessible to handicapped individuals, whether they're in a wheelchair or if they have a service dog or something of that nature. But what about those older buildings? It's my understanding that they're sort of grandfathered in, I believe is what you said. How can they help individuals if they are not handicap accessible?
The buildings that are under the grandfather clock, I encourage them to do their best. You could go on Amazon, or you can have someone build you a heavy duty portable ramp. So if the individual can't step up, you would be able to pull that out and allow them into your business and be able to shop or eat or whatever your business is. And so I encourage that. Look at that aspect of your building and take a step back. Would it be helpful to have a portable ramp? I know there's a Starling Center on 17th Street. And she uses a portable ramp because she has a step. So she could pull it out and pull it back in when she needs to. Have on your website, if you have a portable ramp, there to have the individual to call in and say, hey, I'm coming to your establishment and I need a ramp. And that way you could pull it out and have it ready for them when they show up. And also kind of just looking, and I know that the buildings that are grandfather clocked in is harder to do a lot of remodeling without having to do a lot of permits to have to redo the whole thing. And just take a step back and think, can I fix my bathroom and make it a little bit bigger? Can I have smaller tables in my establishment, a smaller table for those that are mobility impaired to be able to sit at a table and comfortably with their friends or family or whoever that they're with, or maybe they're just there by themselves and they want to enjoy a cup of coffee. Do you have tables low enough so they can roll up and just sit there at the table without having to get up and climb up in a big chair and a big table? I just think, take a step back, take a look, and imagine yourself, mobility impaired, and ask yourself, what ways can I fix it, or maybe make it better in my establishment? I know that doors are always a hard thing to do, pull open and push open, simple little things, like putting, if your door is going to be hard for folks to be able to open up, you can always use a small tennis ball with a rope on it, where they could pull on it and pull the door open. You can always use a doorbell, a ring doorbell, where somebody can push the button and somebody can in that establishment can walk over and open the door and let them in. And so by doing those little simple things, allow the individual with multiple disabilities to feel like that they're doing things on their own. They're not, nothing's been taken away from them. They're not having to depend on anybody. Hey, I came and now that door is really hard to open. And I've seen Dollar Trees and different places have heavy doors. And it would be helpful, like I said, to have that tennis ball rope and maybe a doorbell, video doorbell, where that individual can ring it if they need help getting inside that establishment.
Individuals that are blind usually have service dogs. Is that correct?
A lot of us that are visually impaired, guide dogs for the blind, and a lot of folks consider them as a service dog. So yes, we do, and a lot of times when the door is heavy and we are holding on to the harness, it's a struggle to get in and out, and that could be a hazard to us. And sometimes we pick and choose where we want to go. Is it easy to get in? Is it easy to get out? What kind of struggle will I have if I go there or I go here? But we always want to encourage everyone with a business, no matter who they are, to just take that step back and look and visualize. If I was in that situation, how would I do? How would you do it? Like I mentioned earlier, about the rope, the doorbell, those kind of little things has a big play in independence.
If you have a guide dog or a service dog and you go into an establishment, should the business owner make special considerations in keeping the guide or service dog safe?
If it's a busy establishment, the business can recommend, hey, it's really busy in here. May I recommend, maybe you go over here where it's not so crowded. But I also encourage businesses to ask the two questions. Is that a service dog? Yes or no? I should be able to say yes right away. The second question is, what task does it perform due to your disability? I don't have to get into it all. I could say right away, my service dog guides me because I'm blind. And so, I came up with that really quick. So if somebody is actually trying to bring a pet in and saying it's a service animal, only service dogs and miniature ponies are considered under the ADA. And so those two questions, if you are allowed to ask those two questions, and I encourage every business owner, every management to ask those questions, because it's important that they follow the ADA and the health department, and it's important that for us with real service dogs, be able to be safe and be able to have a safe place to go.
Now, if an individual is blind and they are in a business establishment, sometimes there's individuals that want to assist, but we as a society have said, don't touch people too much. Do individuals that are blind, do they mind being guided through touch?
If you can help them, because sometimes I'll say, I'll just take you by the arm and you can lead me. And sometimes I'll say, well, because you have a bright collar shirt on, I can see you, so I can follow you. Every individual is different. So it's always mindful if think you might be able to help them, don't hesitate to ask, because that individual will let you know, hey, I can follow you if you lead me. I can hold on to your arm, hold on to your shoulder. However that individual feels, they can reply to that. And I always say, don't be afraid to ask if you can help them in any way.
One of the questions that I've always wondered myself is escalators. Escalators is pretty easy for an individual that has full sight and free mobility. What about those that are blind, that have a guide dog? Are escalators easy to get on and off?
Every school, guiding eyes for the blind, pilot dog, four paws, canine companions, they all, train their dogs around escalators and train their dog going up and down the escalator so they get used to it. So when the individual that comes to their school and get matched up with them, they get to learn how to walk up escalators with their dog. Escalators can be tricky sometimes. The movement, you'll get somebody that may be visually impaired or autism, or maybe just have ADHD or something, that make the touch of that escalator moving may scare them. And so it can be frightening sometimes, but most of us, um, you know, we we try it, and a lot of times it's easy, and a lot of times it's depending on which area that you are at, which store or which mall you might be. Different escalators are different. So just folks that see an individual with multiple disability, be patient, because they may need to stop and think about it before they get on, because they want to be safe at the same time.
Elevators are another tool that is available to us, but I would imagine that if you're in a wheelchair getting into an elevator, sometimes you can't reach the buttons.
Sometimes that could be the case. I have seen some elevators with the button up high, and if you have limited arms that only go here, you can't really reach up to get it. That individual has to wait on somebody to come and help them, instead of them going on their own. They have to sit there and wait on somebody to come along to push a button for them. And it's really important, anybody that has elevators, to make sure that they're low enough, to be able, or even have a pin inside the elevator where that it pulls out, and they can push the button and then push it back in and hang it back up on the elevator. Those are some options that people, in their everyday life, have to deal with. But there is simple ways to help them be more independent. Like I just said, using a pen, pull it out where they can poke the button and then hang it back up on the elevator for the next person that might need that help.
That's a good idea. So an individual that is completely blind that gets into an elevator, how do they know which floor to press?
They should have braille dots on it. When I go to hotels, I always encourage them, if I see some that don't have braille on it, to have different options, voice carryover, going to floor 2, floor 3. And some of them do speak, but the problem is that the speakers are not high enough for people to hear it. It's really low. And so therefore, you know, they may miss their floor because they're waiting on to hear it. By the time they hear what floor they're on, they've missed their floor. But the speakers, I always recommend hey, it would be nice if you guys could turn up that speaker so individual can hear it. And I see that you don't have braille on your elevator on the numbers. Is there a way to fix that? Either with raised letters, because you could buy a liquid raised dots online at Maxiaid, um, Maxiaid.com, and you could buy that and be able to, kind of make your numbers, and it'll dry and stay there. And so that's an easy way to do it.
Those are good advice, pieces of advice for on an elevator. Now, a question that I have is in larger cities, you have public transportation, such as buses or other modes of transportation. How does a blind person know what stop to get off on?
Most of the transit in the bigger cities have voice over when the bus stops. That's number one, going to Cleveland and Broad. You know, so that bus is going up to Cleveland Avenue, back around to Broad, and so you have the choice to get on and off on that. And if the speakers are not working, it don't announce the bus numbers, then the bus drivers should automatically announce it for them, for individuals that may need that assistance. Let's just say that I was waiting on bus number 2 to go downtown, and bus number 2 wasn't working, so it didn't say, no, this is bus number 2 going downtown. So the driver would announce it. Hey, this is bus number 2. We're going downtown. Is this the bus? Is this the bus that you would like to get on? And so I can respond, yeah. So that bus driver, let me on. And both transportation, public transportation, should always have a ramp where the buses will lower down and a ramp would come out, and an individual with mobility issues be able to get on that transit.
But if they don't, is there an easy fix to that?
If the company is running on a budget, let's just say, and they can't get every bus equipped with a ramp, they can have a small little metal ramp made where that'll fit in the front seat of the bus, where the bus driver can pull it out and clip it on the front and allow that person in on. It's easy, a portable ramp. I can't say that enough. They are really important, and it doesn't cost a lot of money to actually make them.
Getting on a bus with a guide dog or service dog, do you find that the other customers assist or want to interfere with the guide dog's responsibilities?
Getting on a public bus, transit, if it be a train or whatever, a lot of people, oh, look at the pretty thing, or look at this, can I pet her? And I have to remind them she's working now. She can't be petted while she's working. And just, a lot of times that people just get up out of their seats and let you have the front seat, and change seats with you. And, a lot of folks are mindful, and they know it's a service dog, and most of the time they'll ask, questions about it. And I don't mind, and I'm sure others don't mind the question because we want to teach others about our service dog, what they do for us, and how they help us.
Let's talk for just a minute about something other than physical handicap accessibility, and that has to do with 911 calls. I know that everyone has emergencies on occasion, and I would venture to say that some individuals that call 911 because of a physical disability.
Most of the first responders have to go through an ADA class that teaches them what different disabilities are, and communication wise. I had the opportunity to go to Portsmouth, Ohio Police Department and talk to them about how technology can help them communicate with people with multiple disabilities, how different ways to different other ways to communicate. And the detectives love the ideas, and they're like, Chris, can we use you as an example to talk about different ways? Like in their system, they can flag different houses, they can flag different names. And so when my name pops up, it's going to say Christopher Cooley. He has multiple disabilities, and they have a remote support team. They have my SSA service coordinator. They have ASL interpreter. They have all their phone numbers, so they know that if the communication barrier is there, they can call them and help eliminate those barriers of communication and helping me better, or helping that individual better. And also, if they're in an accident, if their name pops up, it'll come up in their system and be like, hey, this individual has multiple disabilities. These are numbers that we should call to help eliminate any problems that they may have in communication. And I feel like that's a great thing that every city in America should have. First responders know what they're coming up on, autism or blindness or whatever it may be. They have the opportunity and the numbers to call to help them and assist them.
What is Ohio Tech Ambassadors?
Ohio Tech Ambassador Program, we come together as individuals with multiple disabilities to help educate different places and other individuals about technology and how technology can help us live independent, be independent, go places independently, and be able to work independently. And so we talk about technology and technology first. So technology helps us, and we help other individuals with multiple disabilities learn about those technologies.
We're talking with Chris Cooley. Chris Cooley is Ohio Tech Ambassador. Chris, thank you.
You're welcome.